Welcome back, all you He-Man loving dudes and dudettes. Toyshiz here, and I am back yet again to give you guys another fresh look, courtesy of my friends over at Mondo Toys. We are totally checking out their brand new Mondo store website exclusive, the MER-MAN action figure. And I just want to say and point out real fast, this artwork on the box is amazing. This is fantastic. When I opened this up, it blew me away. I was like, oh my god, this is completely new to me. I know this is Snake Mountain. I'm getting into He-Man, especially with Mattel's He-Man Origins, but this was a very nice surprise, so thank you again to Mondo. Artwork by Florian Bergman, and the packaging design is by Brent Ash, and they absolutely just nailed it. This thing is gorgeous. On the bottom of the box is the barcode, made in China, collector's model, everything you need to know. So take the nice slipcover off, and you're greeted to even more amazing artwork right there of MER-MAN. It kind of is a black and green, almost like Game Boy, like old school Game Boy colors, which I really gravitate towards. That's awesome. Masters of the Universe, MER-MAN, the Ocean Warlord. That's awesome. And of course, this fancy little stamp right there tells you that it's expensive and amazing. 1/6 scale. So for all of you out there, that means this guy is 12 inches tall. And on the opposite side, the same photo of MER-MAN, but this time it's in full color. You kind of swing open the packaging, right? It's got a little Velcro hinge, and you're greeted to just, I'm telling you, it's the artwork on this thing. It's fancy. It looks expensive. It looks rich. It looks amazing. You get to look at the very nice window package of the MER-MAN figure. Screen grab this if you want to read his bio. I love that they put that on there. And then you get to see everything in the packaging. All the different heads, the weapons. This thing is loaded up. He's got several trays. He's got layers upon layers of action figures and parts and pieces and everything else. So this is exciting. I'm stoked. Sit back, relax, grab yourself a nice hot cup of salted caramel coffee, right? Because it's the ocean, salt. Never mind. Anyways, this is a look at the brand new Mondo Toys site exclusive MER-MAN action figure from Masters of the Universe. So let's check this guy out, right? Here he is out of the packaging. And he is every bit as awesome as he looks inside the packaging. If you have ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean, I swear, this is like, he'd be like a crew member. Everything that they showed off, the original He-Man, MER-MAN figure, right? Just kind of like a basic outfit, but they have ramped this up 1,000%. So he looks like he has all those sea creature barnacles. All his armor is made from old oceanic life, and it works so well. This thing, he's covered in seashells and bones and teeth and everything, all the different sea creatures you would imagine that MER-MAN would have control over. I mean, even his headpiece right here, it's like an open mouth, it's teeth, it's like a dead fish kind of thing. That's awesome. I love this. Even down his pearls, his belt. I would say just be very careful. You don't want this guy falling because all little pointed pieces, you don't want anything to break off. But it doesn't really hinder the articulation either, as you can see right around here. But just be careful. That's all I'm going to say on this. But really nice articulation. So he has 30 points of articulation. And it's just all the different, it's the attention to detail. Now, this is brought to us by Emiliano Santalucia, Mara Enchana, Jason Wires, Joe Allard, and of course the awesome Phil Ramirez Studios. And they knocked it out of the park. He's got gorgeous feet, right? Look at a little detail on the feet. His armor, his shin guards, whatever you want to call it, the seashells. It's just, they knocked this thing out of the park. But it's the head. I mean, look, it comes with 3 head sculpts, but this is the one he comes packaged with. The eyes are amazing, right? The paint, you get good articulation out of him. The jaw is articulated as well. You get to see all the little painted teeth. It doesn't really open anything. It just, just kind of opens to the back of his neck kind of thing. But no, they did a good job. And like I said, the articulation is good for these figures. The Mondo Toys, he's got double jointed knees, so that's nice. Single jointed elbows. And that's, this is really like an art piece. You can have feet rotational spin. You also have alternate feet if you want to. We'll check that out in just a second. But his hands got alternate hands. They will move and turn and everything else. So he's good. He's also got like a waist swivel as well. Nothing in like the waist crunch. Also because he has such the bone protrusion armor right there. It wouldn't allow for much of an ab crunch anyways. But just in terms, and I'll show you in just a second, of how well this guy displays with his weapons, it's really the accessories that brings this guy to life. But the face portraits alone are just a blast. Like in normal, typical Mondo fashion, you get a ton of accessories. Now, being that this is the Mondo store exclusive, usually you'd only get 2 head portraits. They threw in an extra one, which is like the cartoon on steroids, basically. But you get a ton of hands. So you get 5 pairs of hands, 2 feet, stand, a trident, a blaster, his corncob sword. And then, of course, on the Mondo exclusive, you get the Crimson Pearl spear as well. This is just a beautiful figure. He photographs so amazingly. This is my first Merman. Like I said, I am just getting into He-Man, and it's been a blast so far. For me, you have to understand, He-Man is just bat poop crazy, and I absolutely love it now as an adult. Didn't care for it as a kid, but nowadays I'm like, this is just crazy awesome. But look at the paint on the trident, just the detail, everything about this. They just put in the time and effort in this, and it shows. This is a display piece. This is for a collector's room dedicated to He-Man or what have you. The spear looks amazing as well. You know, he's just, in one hand, I feel like he could be holding like an orb or something like that. You know what I mean? He's like that aquatic guy. He's the explorer. But Mer-Man, very interesting. And I like the different head portraits that show off his different incarnations over the years. This one in terms being my favorite, though. And I love his He-Man blaster gun. This is amazing. This is how I'll probably display him anyways. But this is the head portrait that just sells you. This, like the detail, the craggy skin, everything about it. He looks like a fish monster man. He looks like he stepped out of Our Real Monsters, that old television show, like the Klasky Kasupo animation. His jaw is articulated like the other head as well. His eyes are bright and wide open, open, mouth closed. Just a row of teeth, man. This is fantastic. And the blaster equally like fits into his gun trigger hands as well. It's great. Then if you want to go like super old school original Merman He-Man style, he's got his corncob sword, which I read up about. Yeah, I know about this corncob sword, but this is amazing. It's just bones and teeth and sea life and creatures. This head portrait is fantastic in that retro sense. I wouldn't necessarily say it fits his body just because of the lack of detail. The body is so much more detailed than this head, but I think that it works, especially in the classic sense. So you'll make that decision. Yes or no. It kind of goes back and forth, but I do appreciate that it's so retro. It's amazing. The stand is good. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Mondo stands, I'll be honest with you, but you can configure them to work. Now, I kind of put it right underneath in between his legs, kind of pops up around. Thanks God he's got like this, you know, drapery in front of his, you know, and it just kind of hooks in there. This sounds painful and terrifying, but it keeps him very steady, and I'm happy about that because, like I said, I don't want this guy falling over. You get an extra pair of feet. It's like more of a swimming feet, which I'll show you in just a second. Get a nice stand for him, hoist him in the air. He looks like he's swimming around. Now, keep in mind, he is a 12-inch tall figure, so usually He-Man figures are around the 5, 6, 7-inch figures, depending on which iteration you collected or have. Maybe Skeletor made his monster grow, pulled a Rita Repulsa, now you got a giant merman walking around, right? He-Man's got to stop him. In terms of the other Mondo figures in my collection, they all look good. They're around that 1/6 scale. Of course, you got Batman, the animated series, Catwoman, and Mondo just brings that extra oomph, right? They put the detail, the time. These are fancy art figures. These are not just like, oh, I went to Walmart and I got a bunch of action figures. These are art display pieces for collectors and a collector's room, and I think you'll definitely like these. If you haven't gotten a Mondo figure, I do recommend them. They are quite the fancy. They're a little on the expensive side, keep that in mind, but for what you get, if this was all you were collecting and they already come out maybe like every couple months, yeah, you would be in good hands. Just FYI, when they do go for sale, they do go rather fast. If you have a doll stand, something that could keep this heavy figure elevated, swap out the feet, and you could have Merman floating around, swimming around on your display station, couple weapons in hand, ready to do battle with any number of sea creatures or aquatic He-Man armor or what have you. This is a gorgeous figure. I reiterate again, you cannot ask for something better. The sculpted detail, the attention to detail, the lines, just everything about it. The paint is fantastic. The extra head portraits, the hands, the weapons, the home run, knockout, as with what we have seen for their He-Man and much of their 1/6 scale figures. But I am curious to know what you guys think about this figure. Do you have them? Do you need to get them? And are you a fan of Masters of the Universe? Comment below. Let me know. Let's talk everything He-Man. And thank you again to everyone at Mondo. Thanks for sending this out. You know who you are. It's very much appreciated. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, if enjoying a cup of coffee, put some sea salt in there, just pay attention how much you're putting in. Your friends won't let you live it down. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.